Hey, we're gonna settle in for about a 30-minute, just real gentle, hopefully soothing and nourishing, more yin style yoga sequence. So this is gonna be a little bit different than a vinyasa style class that maybe you are more used to, where you're moving a little bit more quickly, connecting your breath with the movements, right? And that, like, a lot of times when we think about a yoga class, it's more of that vinyasa style. So today what we're going to do is we're going to lean into some of these shapes and poses and use our breath to find that edge of comfort and discomfort and allow ourselves to just be curious about that edge. The shapes that I picked today to offer up to you are all ones that can help alleviate some of the symptoms that can possibly come up with our cycle, such as cramps, low energy, stiffness in our hips and our back, and just like really just trying to bring some balance and regulation through our body and our mind and our energy levels energetically. So when we come into these poses, we're gonna hold them for about 10 to 15 breaths each, really just settling in for a couple of minutes, so we can really allow ourselves time to just kind of spread and melt into the shapes. So if you have some props like yoga blocks, if you have a strap, may or may not be helpful for one of the shapes if you want that, and if you have a bolster. Now, this is one of my couch cushions because I do not actually have a bolster here at home with me. I do have one at the studio that I practice in. And if you can grab a couch cushion, you can kind of see like how big this one is. And it can really be any shape. It doesn't have to be the serious. This one is kind of floppy. Your cushions might be a little bit more rigid, a little bit more like structured or floppy. It's really whatever you have access to and might want during this practice, okay? If you do not have blocks and you do not have a bolster, that is also, or a cushion, that's also okay. If you have some pillows that you have access to in the house that you can use for some of the shapes, that might be really nourishing for you. If you don't have any of those things, I'm also going to show you options for all but one. The supported bridge, really having something for underneath your sacrum, just allows you to kind of melt into that shape a little bit more, but you can still do a bridge variation if you don't have any of these things. Okay, that being said, let's start with a little bit of moving, a little bit of slight movement just to ease our way into this practice today. So I'm going to invite you to come on up into your tabletop position. So our knees are stacked under our hips, our wrists are stacked under our shoulders, everything's in line here, and just gently swaying our hips side to side. So I'm just moving side to side here. Your sway might be more pronounced, it might be bigger, or it might be smaller, it might be faster, it might be slower. Really just inviting whatever kind of little shake or shimmy feels good through that pelvis and hip region. And you might find that maybe adding a little bit of squiggling here feels nice. Maybe some circles where we just kind of come back behind our feet and then forward over our hands a bit. Finding that breath. Just allowing ourselves the space to be curious about how our body is feeling today, and meeting our energy levels where we're at. If you've taken any circles, we're gonna go back in the other direction. And maybe you start to even find a little cat-cow through here as you come back, coming into that cat, as you come forward, coming into that cow. Really just exploring here. When you feel ready, just coming back into that tabletop position, allowing yourself just to feel pretty strong and centered here right now. And what we're gonna do for our first shape is we're gonna come into child's pose. So we're just gonna open up our knees nice and wide. And if you do not have access to any of those props that I've mentioned earlier, you're just gonna settle those hips back and move those hands forward, resting your head on the floor, really opening up those hips. If that doesn't feel great, you can also come into more of like a puppy dog pose where your hips are up a little bit higher in the air. That might feel better. Now, if you do have a bolster or a cushion, bringing that cushion between our legs, I'm just it's just like right between my legs here. And just allowing ourselves to have the floor kind of come up to meet us. We can even just snug with that pillow, a little snug here. You can also, if you have blocks and a bolster or cushion, you can build yourself a nice little ramp here so that the floor comes up even higher to meet you. So you just have like this little incline, this little ramp to come up to meet you. Whatever you need here is fine. So find whichever position feels good for you right here and now. I'm gonna use the cushion to just come right here, coming down, just allowing those hips to settle in. And we're gonna take 10 to 15 breaths in this shape. Just allowing your left or right cheek to melt into that surface. Allowing those shoulders to spread out. Allowing those hips to just sink back, and maybe you're still finding a little wiggle through those hips as you're getting settled in, as you're meeting yourself at this edge. And you can also always come up and out and like go back into the shape if that feels better for you. So here, just taking that deep breath in and letting it out. Just finding that place where you're sending that beautiful oxygenated breath into those hips, into that sacrum, into that pelvic area. And maybe just letting go a little bit deeper with each exhalation. Three to five more breaths here. And on that next inhale and exhale, bringing those hands underneath our shoulders, pressing through the floor. If you have that bolster or cushion between your legs, just gently remove it, coming back into that tabletop. And let's just rinse that out with a couple of cat-cows here. And again, you might find that some circles here feel delicious, or just that more traditional cat-cow might be what you're calling for right now. Okay, and coming back to center, and we're just gonna gently bring our legs so they are in front of us, and we're gonna do a forward fold. So thinking about, you might want a, like a rolled towel or blanket underneath your knees to add a little bit of knee support here. Or you can bring the floor up to meet you. You can also open your legs just a little bit. You could put the bolster and kind of come over that if that feels good for you. Sometimes I like to use the bolster and then the block under my head. It looks a little funky, but it really allows you to just kind of melt into this position. You can also bring the blocks on whichever height you need to just allow you to come forward into this forward fold and just shift. So whatever you need here for supports, if you do not have access to any of these things, if you have like I have this exercise bench, you have a bench, maybe bringing your body forward to the bench might feel nice to support you too. So you have a couple of different options here. So we're just gonna inhale, lengthening that spine, and then exhale, forward fold. And just settle in with whichever props allow you to do so. And again, we're here for about 10 to 15 breaths. It's allowing yourself to find that edge, feeling those hamstrings, giving a little stretch. Maybe you're feeling a little stretch through your lower back. And again, you can always be as upright or as hinged as you need today. Taking those deep breaths in, letting it all out. Make any adjustments in the shape as you need them. Three to five more breaths. And on that next inhale, gently bring yourself back up to that seated position. Move any props that you've been utilizing out of your way. Gently bring those legs in, maybe just giving them a little tap, maybe a little knead on the top of those thighs. And we're gonna bring our hands behind us, just tenting our fingers, gently shifting our weight back. Feet are gonna come onto the floor here. Just do a little windshield wiper here. Few breaths here, just allowing a little rebound from that intense stretch. You can also, during this practice, go into any shape that feels better for you, or stay in any of these shapes longer if you want to. This is your practice. Okay, shake it out. We're gonna come down onto our backs now. We're gonna come into that supported bridge that I mentioned earlier. Again, there's a couple of different options that we can have. You maybe wanna put the softer bolster or cushion under your bottom, or using a block to lift you up and feel supported. Usually I would recommend having the block like this way so that that wider part is under your sacrum, like more towards your sacrum rather than towards your lower back. That's gonna actually feel better supportive wise and won't be as likely to like dig into your back in this position. If you prefer to be up higher, you can certainly adjust that block for whatever height you want, okay? So we're just gonna lower back. Bring those feet about hip width. Feet come towards our bottom. And on that next exhale, we're gonna lift those hips up into our bridge position and either putting that cushion or that block underneath our bottoms, finding that spot where we feel supportive, and it allows us to really just melt into this pose here, okay? Deep breath in, let it out. Again, you might have a couch cushion or a pillow or something else under your bottom. All of those things work as long as they feel supportive for you. Here, you might find that it feels really nice to put your hands on your lower belly, maybe even giving it a little massage if that feels nice and comfortable for you, or just simply resting your hands here. You might also find that having your arms out wide or even in like a cactus position feels very opening for you. So all of those are different options as we take our 10 to 15 breaths here. Again, allowing yourself to make any adjustments throughout the shape. Three to five more breaths. On your next breath, just bring your arms by your side, gently press through the floor, lifting those hips up and bringing any props that were under your bottom out from under you. From here, I'm just gonna windshield wiper those legs side to side again. Again, just a little rebound from that longer held shape. Bringing a little bit of moving sensation through our hips and pelvis. From here, we're gonna come into happy baby. So rising one leg up to the sky and then the other leg up to the sky. You might again want to put a cushion or pillow, put that under my bottom here, just to allow a little extra support as those legs come up. And you might just want to stay right here, or those knees are just going to open slightly to the side as we grab either our thighs or our calves or our big toes, trying to allow those shoulder blades to melt into the floor, releasing any tension through our upper back. This is also similar to malasana, like we did in the other yoga sequence the other day, only this is a reclined malasana. So this can feel really nice, opening up through those inner thighs, opening up through our pelvis, releasing some tension here. Again, holding on wherever it's most comfortable for you. And if having your legs open like this is not feeling great for your needs today, coming into more of this waterfall position where our feet are just up to the sky and we're just melting into the floor. So feeling whichever one is nourishing you right here, right now. And in either of those positions, either that reclined malasana, happy baby, or in that waterfall position, you might even notice that your body's gently swaying side to side, or maybe one leg comes down, the other straightens, and you just kind of move through this. Getting a little curious about what our body is intuitively craving and kind of just like encouraging us to do without us even noticing consciously. So let's take about 5 to 10 more breaths in whichever of these positions feel great for you today. Couple more deep breaths here. Gently releasing those toes or thighs if you were holding them, bringing those knees and legs in to meet each other if they were separated, bringing one leg down and then the other one. We're going to move into our final resting position now. So gently shift if you have something under your bottom now. It might feel nice to have either the blocks or that bolster or cushion or pillow or even that rolled up blanket or towel. Might feel really nice to keep that underneath your knees. I invite you to bring your hands to your lower belly if that feels nourishing for you right now, or maybe your hands just come by your side. And as we enter into our savasana, gently pushing any thoughts that pop into our mind to the side, acknowledging them and letting them know that you can talk to them later. Just feeling supported by the floor that is rising up to meet us. And we're going to take an inhale for 4. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 5. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 6. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 7. Inhale for 4. And your longest exhale of today's practice, exhale for 8. Savasana. And when you're ready, allowing a little bit of movement to come back into your toes and fingers. Some movement coming back into our wrists, our ankles, traveling up through our body, that energy. And when you're ready, rolling over to your favorite side and just taking 2 to 3 breaths here, acknowledging how your body is feeling, how your energy is feeling, being thankful for yourself for being here for this practice today. And when you're ready, gently pressing through that floor, coming up to seated into that easy seat position, hands on our knees, big inhale up. Exhale, hands come down to our heart. I thank you for being here for this practice today and hope that you are feeling more rejuvenated and nourished through your body and through your spirit. And with thanks to all those who have practiced this ancient practice before us and to those whose land we practice on, I thank them in gratitude. And again, gratitude to you for being here today. Sat Nam.